I knew from the beginning of the channel that today's video was one that I had to endeavor to do, not simply because of the fact that nobody else on YouTube has taken the time to rank this band's albums, but mainly that this band was just important to me and important in my journey into death metal. So yes, we're ranking the albums of Undergang. Oh, hi there. My name's Jorge. I grew up in the 80s and I used to love getting into trouble. I have always been a friend of felines. I take my faith very seriously, attending college at a Christian school, and I've been a music fan my entire life, only recently discovering I like extreme metal, and I want to invite you to journey with me on my discovery of extreme metal. What is up, folks? Welcome back to A Christian Collects Death Metal. It's your pal Jorge here, back at you with another video. Thanks for stopping by once again. Welcome back. My friends, today we will be discussing, ranking, talking about, I guess that's the same thing as discussing, Undergang's discography. I'm only talking about the full lengths. There's only 5 of them. They have a long discography. Just 5 albums. Just 5. Don't get it twisted. This is not objective. This is just my subjective opinions. Undergang is one of those bands where you could take literally any album of theirs, from the debut to the most recent, to anyone in between, and it's always going to be a fun time. I could be blindfolded, just pick out an Undergang album, and it's going to be a great time. They're just that strong. They have an incredibly strong discography. These 5 albums are some of the best that modern death metal has to offer, in my opinion, from one of the best modern death metal bands still active. They've been doing it 15 years, a decade and a half. 15 years, wow. Now, they went through a few members in the past, a couple bass players, Mr. Onsigned, Mr. Osborne. Sorry, apologies if I'm pronouncing those wrong. The core members who've been there from the beginning, Anders Peterson on drums, one of the best drummers, one of my favorite drummers. Him on the debut, my gosh, wow. Their entire catalog, but man, phenomenal drummer. Then, of course, David Mikkelsen also heads up Extremely Rotten Productions, 7 years strong. You have this gentleman, Mads Harloff, lead guitar, contributing backing vocals, as well as Martin Leith Anderson over here contributing backing vocals, and he's on the bass. One of the most respectable, noteworthy attributes of Undergang is their willingness to lend a helping hand to some of these other artists, these other bands, up and coming. Consider Spectral Voice, Blood Incantation, Pissgrave, even the new Mephitic Corpse. You know, a lot of these bands you could sort of trace back at some point some involvement with Undergang, it seems. And I know these guys are probably too humble to admit it, but I think they played a huge part in some of these other artists' success, as far as, yeah, just contributing to splits, doing splits with them, touring with them, helping put out their material through Extremely Rotten. You know, they're always willing to lend a helping hand to these artists that they believe in, and that's really important for me. I really admire them for that. Pronunciation for this word has been a long debate. And I've heard Dave say in a couple interviews, even the most recent, one that he did with J-Dog of Hell's Headbangers, Undergang. Wow, I can't even say it. It's like there's 2 N's, right? Instead of U-N-D, it's like U-N-N. Undergang. I say Undergang because I'm a dumb American and it's easier for me, and I don't think that it really bothers them a whole lot. But the word itself is is a word that carries with it these apocalyptic connotations like doom, destruction. That's something that I just found out actually this week in that interview with J-Dog. I did not know that. Then I looked it up, and yeah, it has that sort of end of time, end of days sort of feel to it, which to me makes more sense for Phrenolith, right? Because that seems to be the vibe that they're going for, this apocalyptic hellscape sort of scenario. I always associated Undergang with, like, you know, death and gory type stuff. But yeah, no, it's like very much end of days, apocalyptic sort of stuff. Yeah. The first album of theirs that I picked up was the debut. A couple years ago, I think. Yeah, so I've only been into death metal 3 years, so. But yeah, I thought the debut, reasonable starting spot. And for the longest time, I thought, man, this is my favorite of theirs. I streamed their other albums and stuff, and there have been, let me just say this, there has been a time for each of those albums to wind up as my favorite of theirs. Døden Lager Alisar, Til Døden Os Skiller, Misanthropologi, Aldrig, Livet. There was a point in time where I thought, man, this is the greatest. No, this is the greatest. That's just how strong this discography is. So coming in number 5, and it feels wrong to say that because, like I said, all these albums, they are S tier. I have been listening to all of these for the past half a month. I knew this video was coming up, and I wanted to make sure. I've heard these albums over and over before that, but I really wanted to immerse myself. Each album is phenomenal. I could make this video tomorrow, and these might change. But if I had to choose one to come in 5th place, it would be their sophomore album, Til Døden Os Skiller. One of the best albums they ever did, in my opinion, and yet ending up in 5th place because, I mean, I think that the other ones have a little bit more to offer for something like me. Again, I love this album. It has more of a doomier, slowed down, lumbering approach that we really didn't see a lot of in the debut. It's a ton of fun. They use more clips. I am assuming like these Danish horror film type clips. Quite a bit of these sprinkled throughout the album. This is one of the longer entries too. You know, Undergang albums, there are some that are like, 40, 50 minutes, upwards of an hour. Then they have some that are around a half an hour. This one is 47 minutes long, and it goes by so quick. It's such a great listen. It came out in 2012, right? And when I got this, I got a really cool sticker. I got it from a private dealer. I'm assuming that this came with it originally. Not really sure. This is such a great album. I love it so much. Number 5, Til Døden Os Skiller. Coming in at number 4, for the longest time, this was my favorite album. It is so good. This is the 3rd one. Came out in 2015. Døden Lager Alisar, one of the best acoustic style intros, in my opinion, that Undergang ever did. It is so incredible. It has that Undergang DNA through it. And the whole album just has this incredibly nice, consistent flow. It's just some of the fastest 50 minutes. I mean, it just goes by so quick. Song 3, Song 5 are standouts. This album feels like it has like this rumbling sort of roll to it, like a steamroller that just keeps rolling, and it just keeps the album moving. That's the thing about Undergang, is that, yes, each album is an Undergang album, and so there's that DNA present in each album. However, they add something unique to each entry to make it stand out. And I think that's something that every artist tries to do. And man, Undergang just nails it. Number 4, Døden Lager Alisar. Coming in at number 3, we have Indhentet Af Døden. Sure, I mispronounced it. Their debut, right? This is the one album where David did not contribute the cover art. Usually he does the art for that. He said in an interview that at this time, 2010, he wasn't that confident in his artistic style or what have you, so somebody else did it. I think everything that he does is great. It's super unique. The album itself, wow, what a debut. I've talked about the drums already. All the early hallmarks of Undergang present. They got the acoustic sort of flourishes and the interlude bit. This is just straight ahead death metal. It's super aggressive. Kind of doomy, but man, it's just fast and heavy. Fuzzy, scratchy guitars. I mean, drums that just sort of fit, but man, they just heighten the experience in a way that it just makes it all the better. You have David's super low vocals that he's just like reaching deep down into his, soul and even further into the pits of hell and pulling up these just low, ugly gutturals that kind of buried in the mix. You can hear them, obviously, but man, it works incredibly well. That's my favorite kind of vocal style for death metal. Number 3, Indhentet Af Døden. Coming in at number 2 was from 2017. This was a short one. This is 28 minutes long. Misanthropologi. Wow, this album right here is phenomenal. This has a more groovy approach to it. I almost wanted to use the word melodic, but I think groove is the right word here. Man, that opening song, I mean, it is absolutely phenomenal. I love the approach of this. This makes this album stand out among the others. Like I said, each album is unique. Man, this is the grooviest of the albums, in my opinion. They still have some of those clips from these movies sprinkled in, and it has the same aggression as the debut, which is what I love, but with this groove element. They got that DNA. This is just an enjoyable listen. For a long time, this was my favorite album, just like all the rest. Number 2, Misanthropologi. That only leaves one album. Now, I've heard talk that, they got something else in the works. They're always doing something. They're an extremely busy band, especially David. Always got something going on. But coming in at number 1, Aldrig, Livet, or Levitt. Not sure how to pronounce it. I just call it Bruce Campbell because I've heard that that's what he's based this artwork on, was Evil Dead. So Bruce Campbell looking in the mirror there. This album, my gosh. Wow. What can I say? If you heard it, what I like about this one is that the vocals are much more present. It seems like that they've been brought to the forefront. I know they have the other guys doing some backing vocals, but my gosh, these vocals, they have pulled them up from the grave, compared to the other albums, and they are front and center, and because of that, this adds some unique sort of sense of, like, looming dread that is very hard to explain, but because they've done that with the vocals, it just makes it feel super imminent that dread is coming, is about the only way I could say it. Like David is a harbinger of doom, a kind of played out word, I know, but really, like, he's on the rooftops with a bullhorn, with just these low guttural vocals, just, it is so crazy. Low and dirty, but yeah, front and center. I think this album is the most accessible. I think anybody would have a good time if they've never heard Undergang by picking any album, but I guess if someone were to ask which one that, they should start with, I would probably go with Aldrig, Levitt. It's just, I think it works really good for someone who's never heard anything from the band. Song 5, Song 8, standouts. Absolutely stellar entry. Aldrig, Levitt, number 1. Alright guys, there you have it. That's my ranking of the Undergang albums. Let me know in the comments exactly what you think. Jorge, a Christian who collects death metal, signing off. Be blessed.